The following is a presentation of TBS Sports.
The Goodwill Games, Day 7. Some of the world's finest athletes clearing the hurdle, standing between themselves and gold. Day 8 with the anticipation of more great things to come. Catherine's Palace at Pushkin. Magnificent. A Baroque masterpiece located about 15 miles south of St. Petersburg. It served Brisbane, Australia.
She anchors the American hopes in the team competition on a Saturday night when gymnastics began its 9-day run. Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson set the stage.
For 40 years, the athletes who wore the hammer and sickle dominated the sport of gymnastics. 180 gold medals in world and Olympic competition. The Soviet Union was synonymous with gymnastics excellence. They didn't choose their sport, it chose them. Handpicked as children, the most promising left their families behind to serve their country. The youthful athlete, a powerful metaphor for the strength within the Soviet Union. The final chapter of the Soviet story was written in 1992 at the Olympic Games in Barcelona. There they competed as a unified team for the last time, winning gold in the all-around and team competitions. A fitting, yet tearful goodbye. Now, as independent republics, can the dynasty continue, or is the end of an era at hand? Today, they face an explosive women's team led by the most decorated gymnast in U.S. history, reigning world all-around champion, Shannon Miller. She will lead a young and promising squad from the United States into the Goodwill Games. And welcome to the Lenin Sport and Concert Complex here in St. Petersburg for the women's gymnastics competition here at the Goodwill Games. Let's take a look at the results after 2 rotations, the halfway point in the team competition. As you can see, Russia holds on to a strong lead, Romania second. United States and the Ukraine are locked in a battle for the bronze medal position at this point. And hello everyone, I'm Bart Connor, and we're glad you've joined us. In the past 2 previous Goodwill Games, the former Soviet athletes have won 11 of 12 gold medals available. They have totally dominated. And joining me as always is Kathy Johnson. And Kathy, when you think about these young athletes who have come to this competition, the Russians have brought their best, and maybe we're not surprised that they're in first place at this point.
Bart, they really are untouchable here. They are doing beautiful gymnastics. They're fresh off the European Championships, so they are in great shape. And unless they fall completely apart, there's no way they won't run away with this thing. And especially they have Dina Kochetkova. She was a bronze medalist in the all-around at the World Championships. And as you can see here, she has perfect form, wonderful strength and power, and all the skill in the world to be one of the best gymnasts in the world.
The Russian team definitely showing a lot of class here, but let's talk about the Americans. Shannon Miller, the world all-around champion and the veteran, otherwise quite a young team for the Americans. Are you surprised where they stand right now, sort of locked in a battle for the bronze?
No, they're exactly where I thought they would be. They're a nervous team right now because this is a big meet for them, and Shannon is providing some wonderful leadership for them, but they're going to really have to hold it together to try and get that bronze medal. Shannon never ceases to amaze me. I gain more and more respect for her, even when she's struggling, which she has been a little bit here. She pulls together amazing routines. She has incredible will.
Once again, it is the women's team competition. There are 6 full teams here to compete. Each team has 4 athletes, and the top 3 scores out of 4 in each event count towards the team total. The women will be competing on the vault, the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. So coming up later, we're going to have an opportunity to see the final results here in the women's team competition at the Goodwill Games, featuring world all-around champion from the United States, Shannon Miller.
So the U.S. already has a mighty mountain to climb. Isn't it something, Shannon Miller? 12 years old, training at the renowned Dynamo Sports Club in Moscow. It's difficult. For some will find only disappointment, while others soar on the wings of talent. 12-year-old Yelena Tretichnikova is one of the gifted, moving up to the junior national team. But will she inherit the perfected system that was Soviet gymnastics, or will she and others fly in the shadows of a Russian version in decline? Physical fitness and the communal nature of sport was an important part of the old Soviet order. Lenin idealized the citizen worker with balanced physical and intellectual development. Under the rule of Joseph Stalin, all were to be prepared to defend their country. The organization and celebration of sports became an enormous part of society. Gymnastics was widely practiced, but its highest expressions were seen only at Spartacades, the all-Soviet sports festivals. Soviet gymnastics made its international debut at the 1952 Helsinki Olympics. The women, led by Maria Gorokovskaya, stunned the world with their complete dominance. This victory began a gymnastics dynasty. For the next 40 years, the Soviet women would win all 10 Olympic team competitions they entered. They won 7 of 10 all-around titles and 158 medals overall. They always had great individual performers. Larisa Latinina, starting in 1956 and through 3 Olympics, set the all-time record for medals won with 18. And she became a national hero at home. Soviet stars such as Lyudmila Turisheva, winner of 9 medals between 68 and 76, and the spectacular Olga Korbut, kept the continuity of excellence flowing into the 80s. After the Olympic boycotts of 80 and 84, Yelena Shushanova led a strong Soviet team to victories at the 86 Goodwill Games and the 88 Seoul Olympics. The last team of the Soviet era competed as the unified team in '92 at the Barcelona Olympics. It won a 10th straight team title and the all-around gold for Tatiana Gutsu. When the Soviet Union dissolved, Russian state support for gymnastics at all levels was severely cut. As a result, coaches and top athletes have left the system. Junior programs have diminished, and the talent selection process has suffered. The system remains in place, but teeters on the edge of decline. Former Soviet star Mikhail Voronin is director of gymnastics at Moscow Dynamo, which has developed many champions for the national team.
I see only one problem: money. There are no other problems. Problems with food, coaches, and equipment are closely linked to the lack of money. We are experiencing a crucial stage in Russian gymnastics. Either we will rush forward with new energy or fall down a steep hill.
Some of this decline is evident at the Russian National Training Center 45 minutes outside of Moscow. Amidst the gloomy landscape and peeling paint, the women's team members live 3 to a room in substandard conditions, but no one is complaining. They're here to be champions. These girls, just 15 and 16, are the team for the Goodwill Games. They are Dina Kochetkova, Svetlana Korkina, Oksana Fabrichnova, and Elena Grosheva. They're young, fearless, and committed. Recruited from nursery schools at 6, some have nearly 10 years invested in gymnastics. All are focused on training, hard training, 3 times a day, 6 days a week, over 200 days a year. They're led by Leonid Arkayev, former Soviet and now Russian head coach. He feels the system is still theirs.
I can say that the Russian gymnasts are the inheritors of the Soviet School of Gymnastics, and in that respect, nothing has changed. The only change at present, of course, is inadequate financing. But it is of a temporary nature, and eventually things are going to get better.
As 15-year-old Elena Grosheva works to perfect her skills, she is mindful of maintaining the winning legacy.
Of course, we feel the burden of responsibility. It would have been much easier for us if the Soviet Union hadn't split up. We lost strong gymnasts to the Ukrainian and the Belarusian teams, but we'll carry on no matter what.
And their efforts have paid off. At April's World Championships, the women won medals in every single event. The Russian men and women combined led the medal count. It is not clear whether their success can approach Soviet proportions, but a quick demise for Russian gymnastics seems unlikely. However, with a backdrop that was Soviet gymnastics and Russia's current economic crisis, it will take courage for talented athletes and coaches to stay the course at home. Leonid Arkayev has no doubt about his girls.
We have never lived in luxury, and if you look back into the sociology of our sports, you'll see that most of our children came from poor families. So the current situation is nothing new to us, and we will survive. We've got guts, and we can take a punch.
You know, 4 years ago I was at that training center, and it is a very basic...
At the Goodwill Games, Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson. Let's take a look at our standings after 2 rotations. The halfway point in the competition, solid Russian team in first, Romania second, Ukraine and the United States in a hot battle for the bronze medal there at the halfway point. We're getting ready now for the third of 4 rotations in the women's team competition. On the balance beam for the United States, this is 15-year-old Sunny Meduna.
Oh, that is unexpected. I was just getting ready to say she was an excellent person to put up first for this team. I watched her during the workouts, and she was very steady, very calm on beam. And unfortunately, it's not the case now. She's a little nervous. It's very difficult to miss your mount and come back and regain your poise.
The U.S. team was third after the first rotation. They have dropped to fourth after 2 rotations. So they're feeling a little bit of the pressure here. We've talked about the U.S. team being a combination of 1 veteran, Shannon Miller, and otherwise 3 relative newcomers to international competition like the Goodwill Games.
As tough as this is for her, this is a good experience because she needs this under her belt. She's making some mistakes, but she'll learn the world will keep on turning. She goes back to the gym, learns from this, and puts it behind her. And we've all been there.
The entire U.S. team trains in Oklahoma City under Peggy Liddick and Steve Nuno.
Good dismount, a little straight-legged on the landing. Just a lot of nerve there.
Let's take a look at this mount, Kathy.
She seemed very straight, but then just panic struck in. She was, a tiny bit off to the left. She might have been able to correct it. A veteran probably could have done so.
This is the second vault for Tatiana Malia from the Ukraine.
Nice power on the vault. Tight front somersault that's worth a 9.8 if done perfectly. Of course, she had the step on the landing, but beautiful technique, nice lift, good piked position.
The Ukrainian team in third place, just ahead of the United States, now on the floor. This is Grosheva from Russia. Score on the vault from Malia, 9.55 for her second vault. Double twisting front. Highly difficult.
difficult. You never see that, especially in women's gymnastics. Beautiful landing. Oh, interesting finish. Really a nice performance.
Watching the Russian team here this week, they've been very loose in practice and doing incredible difficulty and yet really pretty cool about it all.
Watch this. I don't know how you can be cool about doing a double twisting front, but she does it perfectly. This is that double pike. And watch the landing. You just cannot do it better than this. Stands right up and doesn't budge.
The Russian team has impressed us a great deal the last couple of days. They, you know, you usually expect them to be so uptight, and in the past they have been so intense and so businesslike, but the young ladies are competing a lot more casual these days.
I loved watching them train. They were having so much fun and doing great gymnastics in the process.
This is Bulakova on the vault.
Yurchenko vault, that's the round-off entry, yet she did a half twist off the board. Typically we see them go backwards onto the horse and did a front tuck off. They're really trying to encourage more originality on this event.
For the United States on the balance beam, the score, by the way, for Sunny Meduna was an 8.975. This will be Mariana Webster. I saw her about a month ago compete in a dual meet with USA and Romania. She placed second in a strong field of competitors.
Now, if she can just keep her cool up here, she is excellent on this event and usually very steady.
This is the team competition, so the top 3 of 4 scores count for each team. The U.S. has already had a miss with Meduna.
Very aggressive on her landing. This is what you have to be in this type of competition when nerves are high.
Good control.
It's so tempting, Bart, when you're nervous to hold back because you don't want to make a big mistake instead of just going for it like you do in workout and being aggressive, because that's when you have the success on this event. Very good performance, and an important one for the U.S. They really need 2 more strong performances to stay in the hunt for that medal.
Keep in mind, in the team competition, Russia leads, Romania second. The Ukraine has moved up to third ahead of the United States, who is in fourth. So that's an important performance for the U.S. team. And for Russia now, this is Orkina. As you mentioned earlier, Kathy Johnson, she's tall, and she can do things that you just wouldn't expect that she could be able to do. At 5 feet 4 inches tall, is very tall for a gymnast.
This is her toughest event. Full twisting double back. I think she just stayed in bounds. It's hard to see from our point of view. Lovely.
She was a finalist at the World Championship this year on the floor. Score on the balance beam for Mariana Webster from the United States, a 9.7, so a strong routine there for the U.S.
got a triple twist. I can't believe it. For all of you tall gymnasts out there, there is hope. This is phenomenal. She's gorgeous to watch.
Lovely performance for Horkina from Russia. Easily the deepest team here in this competition.
She is completely amazing with her ability to handle her height. That is a beautiful triple twist, which is easy when you're taller, but to do the other skills that she's done.
So the Russian team continues to look just terrific here in Russia. They've sent their best.
The following portion of the Goodwill Games is presented by Motor.
Year-old Jenny Thompson struggling a little bit today. Just 4'1" and 58 pounds. And she is a dynamo on this event.
I think we have to be really careful. We, the media, the people in the gymnastics community. She's so talented, and everybody is just so excited about her and keeps talking about that. Don't forget, she's so young. And under this kind of competitive pressure and performing incredible skills like that, she's bound to make mistakes in the beginning and to not freak out and think, oh, there's no way that she's going to get it all together. She's getting it all together. Two layout, step out.
Her coach, Steve Nuno, realizes she has a really unique resolve and decided why not move her up to the senior level. It's an unusual move for just a 13-year-old. But he thinks she can handle this level of competition, and she probably can. She certainly has the level of gymnastics physically to do it. The score back over on the floor for Horkina was a 9.85, the highest of the day.
Comes her dismount. Full twisting double back. Boy, does she do the big skills so well. Great technique. Unusual power with such a tiny little gymnast. And sure, she's got to brush up on straighter legs and point her toes and on some of the dance elements. Needs to clean and polish. But that'll come.
But you don't often see a 13-year-old that does a full twisting double back, the same dismount you see from Shannon Miller at the end of that routine. She's starting to relax a little bit now. Fabrichnova on the floor from Russia.
You can see the difference in the level of polish that a couple of years make. Little straighter legs, little better position in the air on this split jump.
By the way, back over on the vault, the score was a 9-6 for Bolakova's second vault.
Ooh, landed that one a little low, but she pulled it out.
She had been sick earlier in the week, so perhaps her endurance is down a little bit. She has been suffering a fever.
Well, if it is, it didn't show there.
Certainly didn't.
Strong routine.
The Russian team here has just an immense amount of talent and going for all the big tricks.
Here's where she landed a little bit short, but she was able to pull it through. The timing was just off between the two somersaults.
Now in the vault from the Ukraine. This is Niznik.
And this vault will amaze you. You look at her and she looks so frail, and yet watch the power and the lift off the horse. Pike Cuervo. That's a hack twist and then a back somersault on the out flight. Her technique is really just right on here. Good lift. There's the half twist and then a pike back somersault. She could come up with a better landing and get a bigger score this next vault. That's a correction she's very capable of making.
Well, here's the world champion, not only in the all-around, but also on this event, the balance beam, Shannon Miller from the U.S. Currently in 4th place in the all-around. She needs a strong performance here, as does the United States team.
She's gone back to this mount on the balance beam. She, for a while, performed a front somersault on the beam. I think this is a good move, especially for this competition.
The score over on the floor for our all-around leader, Babrishnova, was a 9.775.
Good recovery, but that's a major deduction, especially for Shannon Miller. You don't typically see a mistake like that. And another cover.
Good save. I thought she was off there.
A less experienced gymnast would have been, Bart.
Niesnik on the vault had a 9.575.
Very difficult dismount. Round up, full twisting double back. She's got to work.
Oh!
She was having trouble in the workout, under-rotating, and I really think she had that in her mind and knew she had to go hard, which she did, pulled it around just a little too much. Here's her 2 layouts, and I don't think I've ever really seen her have trouble with this pass. So that's unusual.
As you mentioned, she did have trouble in the workouts underdoing things. Perhaps she's overdoing things here a little bit today just to compensate.
It makes perfect sense, too. It's exactly what any other gymnast would do in that situation, but you can see her heels kind of caught the mat, and it made her stumble backwards because she was so over-rotated.
Keep in mind, the all-around competition is not at stake today. It's just the team competition. Russia holds the lead and back over to floor exercise. This is Kochetkova from Russia. She's currently 2nd in the all-around behind her teammate, Babrishnova.
Those of you who admire Julianne McNamara of the United States during her career must see the resemblance here. She reminds me so much of Julianne in her early years. Of course, Julianne McNamara, gold medalist from the United States in the '84 games. Incredible height at the end of the routine. Not as difficult as some of the passes that we've seen, but what an enjoyable routine. Perfect form throughout. Difficult tumbling.
Let's update you on a couple of scores here. For Shannon Miller, an uncharacteristic 9.525 on the balance beam, and Jenny Thompson had a 9.55. Now this is Lilia Podkopaeva over on the vault.
Oh, beautiful vault. Probably the best of the entire competition so far. Excellent technique on this. In fact, close to perfect, I'd say. Right on top of the horse. Legs perfectly together. Toes pointed throughout the entire vault. And just the tiniest of hops on the landing.
And a strong finish for the Ukrainian team. Podkopaeva, who's just ahead of the United States. They're in 3rd. U.S. is in 4th. Russia leads, and Romania is in 2nd. Romania continues to pour it on a balance beam. This is Anna.
All of the Romanians performing a very long, difficult pass. 4 elements.
They really do seem to attack on the balance beam. Very quick, sharp, precise movements.
Funny, Bart, when you're not prepared to perform on the balance beam with nerves, it feels like having an out-of-body experience. You don't even have control over legs, arms. Gymnasts practice so hard and do pressure sets, meaning this set is the only one that counts, so that you know what it feels like to be nervous and still perform like that, just solid as can be.
Well done for Anna Maria Bican.
Excellent technique on these back handsprings, perfectly aligned. Look how high the double back was. As she finished the rotation, her head was still the level of the balance beam. Sure makes it easy to land.
Only 14 years old. Cool and composed here at the Goodwill Games. Now back over to the vault. This is Yevdokimova from Kazakhstan.
I love seeing this vault. You just don't see it ever. I think I've seen it a couple times in men's competition. Because of the look on the faces over there on the judging panel, I think they might be having a little bit of trouble with the computer system, because it looked like they were just frustrated with something. Not that they're having trouble coming up with the scores.
Because there is a delay on the vault, now we're going to go over and see Monica Martin from Spain on the bars, while we wait for the score of the first vault, Yevdokimova.
Oh no, I was just getting ready to say what nice form she has on this event, and she just completely missed that element.
At this point, what happens is the gymnast loses a half a point from the judges, and they have to continue the exercise where they made the mistake. So this will be their second major mistake on this event.
Nice level of difficulty in the routine. 2 release moves. Here's the dismount. Interesting technique on those giants into the dismount, but it sure worked. Here you can see she just did not make it all the way up into this handstand, broke form, and then just entirely missed the skill. She was supposed to go right to the handstand and pirouette out of it.
Okay, back over to vault now. Yevdokimova from Kazakhstan. This is a really unusual vault. The handspring laid out front.
She scored a 9.725 on the first vault. If she could just stick the landing, she'll get a big score. Oh no, she'll keep that first one. First vault was much better, and I feel sorry for her because she had to wait so long between the vaults. It's hard to improve. Remember the improvement you were supposed to make.
So we go from the vault then over to the balance beam. Kakovan from Romania.
Again, that same long pass.
The score for Ana Maria Bican was a 9.725.
Difficult jump. Her head dropped back in the air. Take your eyes off the beam. Oh, that's a shame. She looked straight, Bart. I'd love to see that in replay because the back handspring looked perfect. The layout looked straight over the balance beam. She must have seen something else and it panicked her.
Back over on the uneven bars, 9.025 the score for Monica Martin. Yevdokimova 9.5 on her second vault.
Dismount pass, very well done. Notice how tightly she keeps her legs together on everything. Just makes everything look beautiful. This is a shame because she was just straight. I think she was worried about this. She stood there a long time before she went into it. She was straight there, straight there. That's just a matter of will. When you're over the balance beam and you see even a tiny bit off, you can pull it back on. She just got nervous.
Now back over to vault. Yelena Piskun. We've seen her before, Kathy Johnson, in this event as the world champion.
She does this easily. Oh, my gosh. That is the best she's ever done it.
And that may be the highest score of the day. Perfect technique and a wonderful landing.
Not only is it the most difficult vault being done, she's the highest above the horse, anybody in the competition, and the landing was amazing. Perfectly in line with the horse, right down the middle.
Back over to floor, Luo Li. As you can see, the competition is furious here, fast and furious. They cut from one event to the next. Luo Li, the world champion on the uneven bars. The score back over on the vault for Piskun, her first vault on 9.85. Highest score so far today. The only mistake for Romania on the balance beam, Cacovian, her score was a 9.2.
Steady performance, nothing special, but at least solid.
Luo Li from China. So here are our standings after 3 of 4 rotations. Russia holding on to the lead, Romania in second, and the United States and Ukraine, U.S. just slightly over 0.3 of a point behind Ukraine in a battle for the bronze. We will be set for our 4th and final rotation when we come back. After 3 rotations, the team competition is very, very close. Russia leads. Romania is second. The Ukraine is in third. And the United States will be in fourth. There you have it. 87.975. The Russia team has a big lead over Romania, nearly a point. 0.6 back is the Ukraine. And the United States just 3.5 out of third place, which, as you mentioned, Kathy Johnson, at the top of the show, a bronze medal for the United States in this strong field of competition would be a very good result for them.
Absolutely, Bart. And it's a little surprising. We didn't expect Romania to be this good based on their workouts compared to the team from Ukraine. They looked stronger, and it's a different story here in the actual competition.
Now from Spain, this is Castro. They've had difficulties here today. This is her first international competition. Veronica had a good result in the Junior European Championships just this year. She was second in the all-around.
That's an example of how fickle this event can be. She just performed the long pass that she was having so much trouble with in the workouts, and then broke on a full turn, and now came back. It just got flustered. You really have to learn to keep your calm on this event, no matter what. Here's the front tuck, and it was just complete panic from the time she took off in the beginning. And when you're in that situation, it's very difficult to be aggressive on the landing.
Over to the vault now. Jin Yi.
Good vault. The Chinese are now, they're finishing up on their two weakest events. Vaulting, and of course the tumbling on the floor exercise. But this was pretty good. Right on the top of the horse, nice position in the air. When this first vault was brought into competition by Yurchenko back in the 80s, this was a blessing for the Chinese team because it made them much stronger vaulters than having to perform the traditional type vaults, which took a lot more power.
And now we move back over to the floor exercise. Angela Gimpu from Romania. With the exception of one mistake on the balance beam, they've been quite solid today. That's the reason they're 9/10 of a point behind Russia going into this rotation. Score for Castro was an 8.9.
A music malfunction. Either they started the music before she was in position or it's the wrong music. We'll see.
Jin Yu, her score on the vault was a 9.45.
Oh, beautiful pass. Unfortunately, she stepped out of bounds. It'll be a 1/10 of a point on.
Combination. We saw her in the United States just about a month ago at dual meet USA versus Romania. The Romanian team beat the United States, by the way. But the Romanians sent their best. The U.S. did not.
Oh, a difficult triple twist at the end of the routine. And just a little trouble getting it all the way around. Little buckle on the landing. Nice combination of difficult tumbling passes. Unfortunately, this one went out of bounds. Look how far she's traveling. It's no wonder she just carried it too far. Now, if she could have stuck that landing, she would have stayed in bounds. But she was a little off center and had a little too much momentum and stepped backwards out of bounds. Here's the dismount. Triple twist. Beautiful position, just not quite around on the twist.
So ankle problems for Gimpu from Romania, but she doesn't seem too uptight about it.
So we're well into team gymnastics, the first night of gymnastics competition.
Bican, by the way, is third in the all-around behind Kochetkova and Pavrishnova, both of them from Russia. Just slightly ahead of her teammate Kakovan, but Kakovan had a mistake.
Something big is coming. She's standing there quite a while. Triple twist. Great difficulty and a nice presentation. Here's where she stepped out of bounds. Now watch how close she is to just staying within the line. They're allowed to touch the line, but they can't go over, and her heel is just about a quarter of an inch over the line. Nice dismount, good difficulty for the end of the routine. She had nice technique, triple twist. Look at the height. She's way up in the air and really pulls it all the way around.
Remember, it's only 1/10 of a point deduction for the step out of bounds. She's third in the all-around and will remain in the hunt. Next up on the uneven bars is an Olympic gold medalist, is a member of the former Soviet team in the '92 Olympic Games. She was also a finalist on the floor. Oksana Chusovitina, Uzbekistan.
She was one of the first gymnasts to perform that skill and this skill as well at the World Championships in '91. She's a little short on all her moves. That move should have gone to a handstand on low bar to really get full difficulty. Dismount, full twisting double back.
She said she took up gymnastics at the age of 7. She went to watch her brother work out and kind of got interested. Boy, has she done well.
Nice position. Those inverted giants. See, right there, really should have gone to a handstand. Even if she doesn't need it for her level of difficulty, it just looks better and helps the transition. Dismount is a double back with a full twist, but the full twist is on the second somersault. We see it sometimes in the first, sometimes on the second. Actually, hers was kind of right in between. We call that a half in, half out.
You know, at the '91 World Championships, she was a last-minute replacement for one of her teammates who got injured, and she won the gold on the floor exercise. Chusovitina. Continues here at the Goodwill Games, and the women's team, the Russian team, is now over on the vault. This is their final event. Yelena Grosheva, currently 4th place in the all-around.
This is a very good event for Russia. Actually, they don't have a bad event, so.
And they're currently 3 of the top 4 in the all-around, although that's not being contested today. That's just an indication how strong they are.
Pike front somersault. Now, that's only worth a 9.8, but she performed it very well. Had a step on the landing. That'll be the main deduction in this vault. Also, a little leg separation, but right there you can see as she comes in for the landing. Those are ever so slight. Very good technique. Lift up into the vault. Now, if she adds a half twist to that sometime, it'll be worth a 9.9. That's how you see the level of difficulty begin to climb, and it's worth more. But as it stands, it's worth a 9.8.
Now, next up on the balance beam is an interesting story. This is Kuznetsova. Evgenia Kuznetsova. She's from St. Petersburg here, although that, of course, is in Russia. She's not a member of the Russian team. The Hungarian team did not show up at the competition here the other day, so the local organizers thought it might be nice to include another gymnast, and so they put in her, and she's the best representative of gymnastics here in the St. Petersburg area.
Of course, she can't compete for medals. Oh, what a shame. I watched her in the workouts, and she was just so good on this event.
There's an unusual combination.
That is great. We haven't really seen that type of skill on the beam yet.
Just 13 years old. First place in the Russian Youth Championships. Now we're going to go over to the floor exercise for the United States. This is Sunny Meduna.
She's very dramatic on this event, and it works so nicely with the music.
Score for Grosheva. On the vault, her first vault was a 9.625, her second vault a 9.75. Currently in third in the all-around. She had a 9.675.
So far, this is a great routine. Looking for a good landing here. 2.5 twists. Nicely done. She'll be happy with that.
Nice finish today for Sunny Meduna. A little bit shaky in some parts, but she sure finished on a bright note. A lovely routine.
You can really see how hard she works on everything.
This is Nieznik, Oksana Nieznik from the Ukraine.
Oh, little break in form there. We noticed that in workout. This is certainly her weakest event. And the Ukraine really needs to be strong here. Pike double flyaway, big leg separation on the landing. She has some deductions in that routine.
Her scores have ranged between 9.5 and 9.7 all day long.
Notice the legs really bending when she regrasped the bar, and the height wasn't really there on the release anyways.
Her Ukrainian team is in third place right now, ahead of the United States. Back over to the vault, Kochetkova.
And watch this. She flies off the horse. Oh! The best landing of the night, I would say, on vault.
She's our leader in the all-around currently with a 29.35 over her teammate Fabrichnova.
We have seen some great vaults, but this was equal to those, and she came up with the landing everyone strives for.
From Kochetkova and the Russian team over on the vault, back to the United States team. Fourth place currently in today's competition. About 4/10 of a point behind the Ukraine in third. We do not yet have the score for Sunny Meduna.
On the fall. Nice high pull in. stick. Strong legs, stick. Okay? You're running, make sure your hands are in the middle of your hands and pull. Okay? Up high, full, lift it, and punch front.
You can hear.
Right? The last tumbling pass, you got to make sure. Okay, got to make sure that on the last tumbling pass, you're putting it in the middle of the floor. All right? So as you're lifting, you're landing straight up and down. I want to see lift up and legs together on the landing.
A lot of instruction from Coach Steve Nuno for one floor routine. He wants good lift on the tumbling passes and stick on the landing. He wants them in the center of the floor.
The score for Sonny Meduna, a 9.55, so a solid score for the United States. Not outstanding, but strong. The score back over on the bars for Nizhnik was a 9.475. Kunetsova, who we were watching shortly on the beach, was 8.95.
Bart, the routines we have seen score in the 9.8 to 9.9 range on floor really had incredible difficulty, you know, with double layouts and ending with full twist and double backs. And you really need that for that big score. So that was a good score for Sonny.
Webster's been consistent today. Scores between 9.5 and 9.7. Not bad.
It's the best she's done it all week.
Just 23rd on the U.S. team in 93. Now a member of the Goodwill Games team. That's Mariana Webster. Strong day for her.
This portion of the Goodwill Games is brought to you by Tyler.
The Ukraine team, currently in a battle with the United States for third.
Bart, she has an interesting combination right here.
Wow, and that's the best she's done it all week.
And the amazing thing is she doesn't do it from a high position, from handstand. Oh, that was a little dumpy right there. It's the best way to describe it. Just shot it out over the low bar and didn't do much with it. Full twisting double back on the dismount. That skill she performed was called a Kim Kwang-suk, who first performed it at the 91 World Championship.
Easy for you to say.
I think at the age of 10 she was there. Right there, and then she goes back. She adds to it, does a full turn.
Now back over to vault, Fabrichnova. Kochetkovan's second vault was a 9.8.
Double twisting Yurchenko, they are just pulling away from the field.
They really are.
By miles. They just have a higher level of difficulty on every event. Better technique, better form, better consistency, and it just adds up.
It's as if they know it. They know that they're much better than the other teams here and really aren't even that intense on the landings. Then we go back to the floor. Now this is little Jenny Thompson. She struggled on a couple of events today, but I think this has been a good learning experience for her. The score for Mariana Webster was a 9.5.
She's the junior national champion on this event when she was 11 years old, the youngest champion ever. Look at that.
3 whips to a triple twist.
Now everyone keep in mind she has a broken toe as she's going through this. This is a tough Tough gymnast.
Way to go. Score back over on the uneven bars. Malia, 9.65 for the Ukraine. Big finish.
Ends with the triple twist. Amazing. Bart, do you remember when you first told me about this gymnast? She was 10 years old, and you said she's doing all of Kim Zemeskel's passes at 10 years of age. I think that was an indication of what was to come, and we're seeing it.
Out of Wichita Falls, Texas, and then moved to Bella Caroli and trained there for a couple of years.
Oh, her hand just touched, barely. I don't know if the judges could see that.
Back to vault, Fabrichnova. Better landing.
Double twisting Yurchenko. I can't tell you how hard that vault is. It's becoming a little bit more common, but it's still tough.
As you can tell, once again, the competition is sort of fast and furious. One routine finishes, and we cut quickly over to the next. Now we're back over to the uneven bars. Bulakova from the Ukraine is ready to perform.
Excellent body line, good height on that release move. That's the kind of height you want to see. It's much more exciting. Double front, half twist.
Terrific routine for the Ukrainian team. We'll be back with more gymnastics, and we're going to see Shannon Miller coming up on the floor exercise. Horkina will be ready to go on the vault. This vault, Kathy Johnson, is really unusual. We saw it a few months ago at the Worlds, and you were really impressed, weren't you?
She performs it so much better now. It's much more impressive, because the first time we saw it, it was just unusual. It wasn't that well done, but it was so unusual, it earned her the silver medal there. Now she performs it with height and distance that really makes it amazing. It's a very complex vault. It's a round-off entry vault. Then she does a half twist onto the horse. Half twist off, back pike out. Now you try and repeat that. So Yurchenko, Height Cuervo. Beautifully done.
Shannon Miller now for the United States on the floor exercise, the final performer for the U.S. here. The U.S. in a tight battle with Ukraine for the bronze medal in the team competition. We've seen this routine for a few years.
In fact, she has a new routine in the works, but it's not quite ready. This one is always a favorite, though.
On a high note for the U.S. team, Jenny Thompson had a 9.6 for her floor exercise routine. That'll help the team.
And that's a little different pass than we've seen at the World Championships. She started doing front tumbling, but now she's added to it some.
Of 5 medals at the Olympic Games in Barcelona. Now, along with her World All-Around Championships and individual event medals, the most decorated American gymnast ever.
Nice performance.
Finally, a smile from Shannon Miller. That's the first one we've seen, well, since we've been in Russia, wouldn't you say?
I'd agree.
To the vault now. From Russia, Horkina. 9.8, the score for her first vault. The Russians clearly outclassing everyone in the team competition here.
Very nicely done. Wow, and she throws that head back. She knows it. That's the ta-da on the finish. Give it that added little bit of something for the judges. She deserves it. Look at that. Just a very complex vault.
To the bars now, Podkopaeva from the Ukraine.
And you won't see a more aggressive gymnast. Watch her go after every position. And the handstand just locks it out. Full over the bar. The same combination we saw Shannon Miller perform. She's got a big dismount. Oh, a step on the landing. Full twisting double back. Nice difficulty throughout the whole routine. But what's most impressive, straight legs, and look at the toe point. It's so beautiful.
The score, by the way, back over at the vault for Horkina, a 9.85 in her second vault. Podkopaeva will await her score. And a strong score for Shannon Miller, the highlight of the day, the highest score of the meet, 9.95 on the floor. Let's take a look one more time at Shannon.
Bart, we have seen her over the past couple of years grow 4 inches, go through an injury, and yet still come out on the floor at every competition and pull it together. That's an amazing athlete.
She used to win events based on her sheer talent. Now she's having to use her focus and her mental resolve to pull out some of these performances because she's clearly having a little more difficulty struggling with the acrobatics because she has grown 4 inches in the last couple of years. The score on the uneven bars for Lilia Podkopaeva from the Ukraine was a 9.8. So here are our final results in the women's team competition at the Goodwill Games. The gold goes to a Russian team with high difficulty and really a team that outclassed everybody here. Romania was second with some solid performance. The Ukraine gets the bronze medal. They held off the United States, who took fourth by less than 0.3 of a point. Well, 8 more exciting days of gymnastics to come here at the Goodwill Games, featuring all-around and individual event competitions as well. For now, I'm Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson saying so long from the Lennon Sport and Concert Complex. Let's go back to the studio and Nick Charles and Fred Hickman.
So women's team gymnastics is in the books, and Fred, it really went according to script, although the U.S. was neck and neck for the bronze.
Team competition here in St. Petersburg, and as expected, the Russian team displayed their dominance, led by Oksana Fabrichnova. Her style and execution, and most importantly, her dynamic acrobatics, gave her a 9.8 on the beam. Her teammate, Dina Kochetkova, who was third in the all-around at this year's World Championships, tumbled to her highest score of the day, a 9.875, with grace, elegance, and some power. For the United States, 17-year-old world champion Shannon Miller uncharacteristically needed to dig deep to stay on the beam. After she gave away a few valuable tenths there, she went for one of the most difficult dismounts in the competition and over-rotated. Difficulties for Shannon Miller, her score, 9.525. But by the end of the day, she came up with the meet's highest score with a near-perfect floor exercise. 9.95 was her score there. The other young and rather nervous Americans were competing in their first major international event, including Mariana Webster, 15 years old, and Sonny Meduna, also 15, as well as little 13-year-old Jenny Thompson. At 4 feet 1 and just 58 pounds, she's the youngest national team member ever for the United States. She had a disappointment in her first event. She's been suffering from a broken toe and recovered well on the floor exercise to record a 9.6, and with this powerful tumbling, her most impressive performance of the day. So let's take a look at the final results in the team competition. Russia, Romania, and Ukraine win the gold, silver, and bronze. The United States is just edged out. The top 8 individuals include, of course, Shannon Miller in 3rd place behind the 2 Russians. Mariana Webster from the United States will join Shannon today in the all-around finals. So the best is yet to come. It's the women's all-around finals in gymnastics here at the Goodwill Games.
And we look forward to seeing that later. Well,